Welcome to the Love Warrington show, episode 2. I'm here at the bottom of Bridge Street, following some comments last week that we didn't really touch upon Bridge Street and the problems Warrington Town Centre is facing at this end of town. So I'm here again today with our property expert, Gary Pemberton from Belvoir. Good afternoon, Gary.
Afternoon, Gary. Good to see you again.
Yeah, I think first of all we should actually thank everybody for their input last week.
Absolutely. I think nearly 7,500 views, nearly 130 comments, shares. I can't believe how many there are. It's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone, for your support.
And while there were quite a few negative comments to start, as we probably expected, because people can be quite negative about Warrington and the town centre in particular, it all started to turn into positive.
It did, which was really good to see. And that's what we want to try and achieve here. It's all about what Warrington is and how positive it is and what it can be.
Absolutely. And as you can see behind you, there's quite a lot of traffic flowing past on a Friday afternoon. I don't know whether people are finishing work early, but we've got the statue of Oliver Cromwell, one of our famous landmarks, and the Academy building, which I believe is about to be turned into apartments.
Yes, I've just been having a look actually at the planning application here on the corner here. And they're looking to try and turn it into 22 one-bed apartments.
Wow.
That'd be brilliant if they do. It'd be absolutely superb to see such a wonderful building converted.
And as a local letting agent and estate agent, I'm sure that's music to your ears.
It's superb to hear. Yeah, really good.
So what sort of rate could you expect from a property like this?
I would say probably a prestigious building like that, you're going to get a bit of a premium. So I'm reckoning around about £500 a month for a one-bed apartment.
Right. So there's some positive news already about the future for the town centre.
Yes.
Now, one of the negatives that we hear about is right behind me, is, you know, the old packet house there.
Such a shame.
Such a shame. And, you know, people keep saying, why aren't the council doing more to protect these buildings?
They should be.
This is in private ownership, so that makes it difficult for the council, but there are laws that the council can enforce to make landlords and building owners keep them up to scratch.
I've always been bewildered. I've passed this building every single day coming into work, and I'm just amazed that nothing's been done with the building. Architecturally, it's quite an interesting building, but obviously you're starting to lose that aspect of it because it's looking deteriorating and it's looking awful now, to be honest. It's a real shame.
Something needs to be done, so I suppose the message is to Warrington Borough Council, please, please, please do something to protect our last remaining historic buildings.
Absolutely, definitely.
So
Gary,
let's take a stroll up Bridge Street now.
Yes.
There's lots to talk about here. I mean, we mentioned it last week, don't just look at the floor when you're walking along the street in Warrington.
You can look up at the buildings, particularly slightly further up where some of the buildings are to let, and you look at the architecture up above, absolutely superb, some of the architecture. And again, what we were talking about before and last week, if the right businesses are there underneath, nice commercial businesses, and you've got apartments above and accommodation, this would make a really nice place for people to want to live, eat, work and drink.
I mean, traditionally, this is the part of town now that gets all the bad publicity for Warrington Town Centre. We've got a few bars, drinking dens, but there are still some small businesses surviving down here as well, as we can see right in front of us here.
There is. Posh Nails, Bookade. It's fantastic to see. It really is.
And you were mentioning the architecture here. I mean, you know, these are some stunning buildings here in Bridge Street still.
Yes, there are, yes. Yeah.
And these planters here, the council at some time has tried to improve the street scene here.
Having a go, should we say?
Having a go, yes.
Having a go, yes. Mind you, it's better than nothing, Gary.
Absolutely.
Positive, it's better than nothing.
So as you can see, up there, plenty of old buildings. And this is where we need to get more people living in the town centre.
I think so. I've spoken to loads of people since our video last Saturday. And, you know, broadly speaking, everyone agrees. The more you have people living in the town, the more this town will prosper and do well. And I had someone mention a figure, and I'm not sure this is right or not, but a close friend of mine said, we need to get about nearly 10 to 20,000 people living in the town here. So if you look at Chapelford, that's come from nothing in the last circa 10 years, you take that sort of style of population and put it in the town here, all of a sudden we've got a really great population that's eating, drinking and having a good time in the town.
And there's plenty of history here in the town. I mean, we're getting near to the part of town where my memories bring me back to when I used to come into town, and we used to go to the Lion where they had the rock night. I mean, believe it or not, bands like Iron Maiden started their careers by playing in the Lion in Warrington.
I actually can't believe this is amazing, this. You know, an old pub on the street here that you wouldn't really resemble or reflect on it now, having a band like that.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It really is.
So, apart from bringing more people into town to live here, what else can be done to re-energise the town centre?
Wow, that's a big question, that, Gary.
Putting you on the spot there.
Yeah, I guess it's food and drink venues for the right ones that people want. And I picked up on a comment that someone said that we do need companies like Pizza Express to come to town. But very importantly, we need to support our local cafes and restaurants like Caruso, Shelley's. Nice organisations like that are really good cafe restaurants. Infrastructure, so the buses. There's quite a lot of criticism or comments about buses, but my gut feeling is that generally I think the buses are pretty good. There was a lot of comments as well about parking, Gary, and this is actually a really good shot here of the Times Square car park here. And again, I've got to just repeat to everyone that is £3 for the day, but if you take your ticket, they will validate it for free at the temporary market for 3 hours. That's
3 hours
incredible.
free parking in Warrington Town Centre.
Yeah.
And there's always spaces to park in there.
There is. So, it's a huge car park. Architecturally, I think, becoming more interesting. Didn't particularly like it at first, but ironically, I kind of quite like it now. And then, of course, here on the left-hand side here, you can start to see the other end of obviously the new Times Square development.
And the big cinema.
But I heard just recently there's going to be a new bowling alley coming into town as well.
Right, in Golden Square, yeah.
That's amazing, that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Again, more and more reasons for people to come to the centre of Warrington, and more reasons to either visit or ideally live in the centre of Warrington.
Right, so we're coming into the sort of top end of Bridge Street now as we head towards the Guardians or the Skittles up there at the top. And the Lion I was talking about is here on my right. I mean, there was a bad fire here a few weeks ago, but it looks as though some work's being done to bring this building back into life.
You know, it's amazing. You think it's a few weeks ago. I think it was about 6 months ago,
Was it that long ago?
Yeah.
Blimey.
Yeah.
Here we go, the Lion. Iron Maiden played here. I used to have some great rock nights in town here. And, Warrington is quite at the centre of the universe for music.
It is. There's a lot of stuff going on here in terms of music and gigs, and we'll cover it next week, but there's so much going on at the Par Hall as well. I'm amazed at the amount of acts that are going on at the Par Hall last year, this year. We've got people like, I've made a note of it, is it Gabrielle, Jimmy Carr. We've got pantomime going on at the moment, going on at the Par Hall. And what's interesting was there's a lot of comments about a theatre, and I was trying to get my head around the whole comments about the theatre, and I finally get it now, that the Par Hall is a concert hall venue with around about 1,000 seats, but it's a bit of a chameleon. It kind of does everything. And I can see now why people are saying we'd like a theatre. I do understand that. I haven't got the answer to that, where it's going to be or what to do.
Well, the council are already talking about turning the old drill hall into a 400-seat theatre.
That'd be nice. That'd be great.
So there is something.
Boutique theatre.
Yeah, there is
Yes.
something on the horizon. So
That'd be
hopefully
really
that'll
good,
come
that.
off.
Yes.
Of course, we can have a closer look now at the development works taking place here. This is where the old Boots building was.
Yes, which has, of course, got the facade, the listed facade at the front.
That's right. And that's shot up over the last 12 months.
It certainly has.
And of course, we've had the problem here with the empty stores in the town centre. One of the pound shops, that was Pound World, I think that's gone.
I don't know if, Gary, we could just pan around to the old, is this the old co-op building, if I'm not mistaken?
It used to be the old Martin's Bank, that many years ago.
So that actually, the downstairs, I think, is ready to become a restaurant, as you can see advertised outside. And I think that would be fantastic when the Times Square development's done. But upstairs, PTS, that have developed the whole of the site, have done amazing apartments upstairs. They are absolutely superb. And that's a prime example of taking an old building, wonderful architecture, and doing something with it.
I mean, it is absolutely stunning, that building.
It's beautiful, the work that they've done, but it's not just on the outside, it's on the inside as well. They've done a cracking job of the apartments.
So there is plenty of potential here in Warrington Town Centre.
Loads.
So what sort of businesses could you foresee moving into these empty premises?
That's a tough one, because a lot of these units are big units. There's an argument to say that where you've got restaurants and you've got the town hall, new town hall offices here, you can have a cinema. There's an argument to say that this could become restaurant and cafe bar area as well. It lends itself more to it. So maybe the shop should be more up that way, and this area around here should maybe become the cafe bar restaurant area. Notwithstanding, obviously, the super area that's going on where Nando's is, Ask Italian, etc.
Yeah. One of the things I've noticed in recent weeks is the homelessness problem does seem to be getting worse and worse.
It does.
And I walked up Bridge Street the other night, and whereas there used to be 1 or 2 people sleeping rough, it was getting nearer to double figures, which is very sad to see at this time of the year.
It is.
Now, we do have a very good charity, Room at the Inn, who are trying to help with that problem. And
Yes.
we've got the other place, what's the other place called? James Lee House.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
with the Salvation Army as well.
Yes.
But, I mean, as you can see clearly here, there's signs in the middle of the town centre that rough sleeping is still a problem.
It is, but I think that's a problem that's not just in this town, it's in every town and every city around the country. I'm not sure we have exactly the answers for that at this moment in time, but it's nice to see that there are locations where people can go to, and there's a lot actually going on to try and help the homeless people.
Yeah. Now, talking about tragedy, we're now coming to the River of Life in the town centre, where tragically just over 25 years ago, 2 young boys, Tim Parry and Jonathan Ball, lost their lives due to an IRA bomb attack on town, which shocked the world at the time. I can't think of a worse atrocity, and yet from that, so much positivity has come, and Warrington played a major part in the peace process.
Absolutely. I must admit, I feel a little bit naive. I've had my business here for 10 years. I've worked in the Warrington for 20 years. And the programme, Mothering Sunday, the drama that was done by BBC, I watched it the other night. I downloaded it on BBC iPlayer, and it really brought to home what happened here in Warrington and the developments that have gone on and moved forward on the back of what happened here.
And I think something as negative like what happened in Warrington here, but the sort of strength Warrington showed as a town, the likes of Colin and Wendy Parry, the great work they've done,
So the Peace Centre.
the Peace Centre,
Yeah.
it does show. But if you can be positive,
Yes.
which is what we are all about with the Love Warrington show,
Absolutely.
we know there's problems here,
Yes.
we know Warrington isn't perfect, but at the end of the day, we live here, we work here. If we're positive about it and we get out and we actually try and do things to try and make things better, things can be done. And this is
Absolutely.
a classic example. You know, Colin and Wendy could have easily disappeared
Yeah.
with the tragedies that they suffered in their lives, but they decided to keep the boys' memory alive and bring so much positivity to
They
Warrington.
really stepped up, and they're still doing fantastic work, amazing work.
And look at this in the background now. All this great work going on to re-energise Warrington.
And this is great, actually. This opening is here. You can really start to see now
Absolutely.
how this is moving on. I'm really excited about the Times Square development.
Yeah.
Really excited about it.
So come on, people of Warrington, don't sit at home knocking the town. Don't be keyboard warriors slagging it off. Raise issues, raise concerns, and even raise them with us, and we'll try and tackle them for
Yes.
you. But come on, get out, get into Warrington, come and support Warrington. There's so much good stuff here.
And we're happy to listen and obviously take on board the comments and pick the topics that the people want us to talk about.
Absolutely,
We've got an exciting piece next week, Gary, haven't we, on employment in the town?
absolutely. Employment in the town. We'll have a special guest joining us, and we'll be focusing on more positives in Warrington.
Yes.
And I think for this week, this is a good place to end today's journey.
Absolutely.
In memory of the 2 boys who
Yes.
lost their lives, and and to congratulate all those who have worked so hard to make the world a better place,
Yes.
not just Warrington,
Absolutely.
because peace is so important in this world.
It is.
So it's been great to have you along again, Gary,
Thank you, Gary.
and I look forward to next week's episode when we will look at more positives on Warrington.
Looking forward to it. Thank you very much. And thank you for watching, folks.